Hey guys, I'm Anderson9132 and I'm the Robot Wars Guru. Is there anything that symbolises robotic mayhem more than an Annihilator? It's 6 robots down to 1 in a grueling, harsh and crazy knockout competition. Oil is spilled, robots are massacred and the action is non-stop! Apart from the Series 7 Annihilator anyway. There have been a total of 6 Annihilators in Robot Wars and the first 5 were all good. But the last one leaves a sour taste in my mouth, as if I've licked 6 lemons that have been hidden in a sumo wrestler's underpants. I just found it dull, uninspiring, and quite frankly barely watchable. And that's why I've decided to redo it. Now before I can show you how I personally would have planned this episode, I need to first distinguish with you guys what was wrong with it. And I think the only way I can really do that is if I was to compare it to the previous 5 Annihilators. So on to the first issue, and that is the lack of weapon variety. So the first issue to discuss is the lack of weapon variety. Of the 6 robots involved, 5 of them had flippers. 5! Compare that to all the other Annihilators, like the Southern Annihilator in Series 4, that had a Crusher and Razor, 2 lifting scoops in Behemoth and Onslaught, a spiked 4-wheel drive rammer in Spawn and Scudder, a Quasi Thrakbot in Attila the Drum, and a dual and axe lifter weapon in Vercingetorix. The only other weapon in the Series 7 edition was the horizontal crushers of Can Opener, which doesn't really leave much in the way of variety now, does it? The previous 5 Annihilators also had a mix of legends and robots that show potential but never got a chance to show it. This worked well because we saw familiar faces such as Dominator 2, Chaos 2 and Razor, but we also got to see newer, less well-known machines earn their stripes. Just look at the Northern Annihilator. Chaos 2 was a legend at the time, Stinger was a grand finalist, Dominator 2 were up-and-comers who had made the semis, Kilohertz were well favoured by the fans and producers, Suicidal Tendencies were unlucky to lose so early and deserved to have more screen time, and Spikosaurus lost on a very unlucky and very close first round judge's decision. The only robot with any real pedigree to its name in the Series 7 Annihilator was semi-finalist Raging Nightmare. Sure, Ripper and Robochicken showed some good promise too, but I think they made a very, very poor choice of Flipper and U2, neither of which really screamed promising. Where are some other semi-finalists, like Grim Reaper or Gravity? Why aren't Judge Shred 3 and Tiberius, 2 robots who nearly won their heats, involved? I think any of these robots could have offered a better performance than Flipper, a robot that just barely moved in its only battle up until this point. And finally, this is the worst Annihilator because most of the robots were bland. I'm sorry, but they just were. Flipper and U2 were just boxes with thin flippers. Robochicken removed their head, relinquishing any personality that the robot had, and Ripper was just a basic wedge flipper. Even Can Opener, the reigning champions, were a flat box. I hate to sound like a broken record when I say this, but the previous 5 Annihilators did it better, with different designs and interesting looking robots. The first Extreme Series 1 Annihilator had Thermidor, Arnold A, Pussycat, Hypnodisc, Splinter and Exterminator, all of which were interesting to watch and look different from one another. It's little things like that that make battles more interesting to watch. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, I can get on with improving this Annihilator. Now first of all, I like to give some robots the right to stay. After all, it wouldn't be fair for me to get rid of every single machine. There were some robots in there that actually did deserve to be there. For example, Can Opener. Not only is Can Opener the only non-flipper robot of the original 6 machines that are in this thing, but also it's the only Annihilator champion to try to defend its title. I think that in itself is worthy of participation. I would also like to keep Ripper, because it was a very impressive robot that had very credible run in its heat, only losing in the heat final to second seed's Firestorm, which is nothing to scoff at. I was also thinking of keeping Robochicken instead because of basically the same reasons. However, after a very, very long thought, I decided against it because I felt that Ripper's performance was slightly more impressive and that Ripper was a strong new face, unlike Robochicken, which has sadly had a poor track record from previous series. With that being said, I also decided that Raging Nightmare had to go as well. I respect the team for making a record 3 Annihilator appearances, but I would rather leave more space for some different faces. And it kinda goes without saying here, but U2 and Flipper are out. Gone. Finished. Bon voyage. So long. See you later. Get the hell out of my arena. Anyway, now it's time to bring in some replacements. And first in, off the bench, is Gravity for 2 major reasons. First of all, it's a series semi-finalist, making it a future legend with a lot of pedigree, and it's also an international machine, so it fills the void that Flipper left behind. Speaking of semi-finalists deserving of another shot, next up is Mute. Now I know that adding Mute bumps the number of flippers up to 3, but that's only half the field, not all of it. Besides, Mute is a front hinge flipper, so therefore it's technically different. Okay, so I'm a cheating bastard, let's see you do better. Anyway, I think Mute, whilst overrated, did have some potential, and considering it was a semi-finalist and a crowd favourite, I feel it is a worthy competitor. The next robot I would like to add is Tiberius 3. After Razor left, I think that Tiberius became the main vertical crusher on the scene, so it will feel welcome in an Annihilator. Also, they performed very well in their heat, almost winning it until M2 got the better of them. Surely that deserves a place in the Annihilator. And finally, there is only one robot that can take this last place. It's a robot that has fought before, had an unlucky first round loss in Series 7, showed strong potential and had a spinning weapon. I am of course talking about Shell Shock! Shell Shock is perhaps the unluckiest first round dropout in Series 7. I'm kidding, okay? Calm down. Calm down, don't burn my building, don't harm my family, they have nothing to do with it. Right. Okay. The real robot is in fact none other than Disco Inferno. Disco Inferno ticks all the boxes, doesn't it? It had great potential, being a former Heat finalist in Series 6, had a spinning weapon, something no other robot in this fantasy Annihilator has, is a crowd favourite, a first round dropout that deserved a second chance, and most important of all, it's a former Annihilator champion! Imagine an Annihilator final between Can Opener and Disco Inferno, two champions clashing to decide who is the best once and for all! I think that would make great television! And that's how I would have made the Series 7 Annihilator. Do you agree, or do you think I'm talking a load of bollocks? Who do you think would win and said Annihilator? No, wait. Who do you think would win said Annihilator? Any ideas of topics I should discuss? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Anderson9132 and I'm the Robot Wars Guru. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.